Okay. All right. What up?
All right, check.
My wife, how many questions you got?
Um, just a few.
All right, my wife gonna ask me random questions.
Well, I'm gonna stay on topic though.
Okay, all right, cool.
So the topic tonight is hip hop.
Hip hop. All right, cool. I should have put, man, I was just told me that because I had my hip hop backdrop up earlier, but it's cool.
Dang, that is awesome. First question is, how did you first get introduced to hip hop, and what was it about the culture that drew you in?
My brother Wayne, my oldest brother Wayne, not my oldest brother, my older brother Wayne. Actually, I don't even think he knows this, but he actually is the one that kind of made me into a hip hop head because he had one of them big boom boxes with the 3 speakers, and he would always get tapes, and I would like listen to him, you know, and it just kind of caught my ear, and I would listen to it a lot, like when he was at work or something, and yeah, that's really how I got introduced to hip hop.
But what about it drew you in?
It was the fact that these dudes could relay a message like that and not be singing, and it was still clearly music. And I couldn't relate to it a lot then because I was young, you know what I mean? So I didn't really know too much about, struggle and stuff like that. But I mean, it just reeled me in, and I've been a fan ever since.
Okay. So who were some of the artists that influenced you the most growing up?
Hip hop artist, number one would be Chuck D from Public Enemy. Funny story, I used to actually go by Charles until 7th grade. And I told everybody to start calling me Chuck, and that was because of Chuck D. And I also dressed up as Chuck D for Halloween in 7th grade. Literally, I took a magic mark and I drew like a goatee, and I had the little hat he wore, and had my mom buy me an African medallion. Like, he's the most influential MC on me because he had this voice. Even at a young age, I knew that he was speaking knowledge, power, and wisdom directly to Black people. And yeah, that's my guy. So I would say him.
What do you think is the most significant contribution hip hop has made to global culture?
Something that came from the Bronx in 1973. Hip hop is world culture. I mean, it is. If you look now, it's on commercials, it's on TV. As you can see, for the past couple of years, hip hop has been the Super Bowl halftime show. I mean, they break dancing in Japan. It's everywhere. They doing graffiti and everywhere, and it's weird because I listen to a lot of hip hop artists that travel all around the world, and they say that hip hop is more appreciated in other countries besides America because it's still pure to them. It's still new to them in a sense, so they really stick to the actual essence of true hip hop. I mean, now is, you got Roseanne rapping for Trump. You know what I mean? It's like, which is not hip hop. That's just rap. That's not. Hip hop is a way of life. Rap is a form of music. But yeah, I mean, it's hip hop rules the world.
So I know in the past you've written some things, in your past.
Yeah.
And it's about, lyricism or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you approach writing lyrics? Was it more about like storytelling, wordplay, or conveying emotion?
I think like most kids, Generation X, Black boys, when we first tried our hand at rapping, it was just mostly a bunch of lies because we were just emulating what we heard. You know what I mean? Gang life and cars and whatever. I never experienced none of that stuff. You know what I mean? But it was a cool thing to do, and it was really not so much about your subject matter, but if you were good at it or not. Like, can I actually put thoughts to paper, write it to a certain beat, and it makes sense. But once I got older and got into poetry, then, and just by listening to, Public Enemy and KRS-One, Rakim, artists like that, you realize that, hey, I can really make an impact by actually writing something, and because rap it's not easy, especially if you're trying to get a message across, So,
So is it play on words, storytelling?
Yeah, it's at first it was just, especially like when NWA came out, everybody wanted to be hardcore, and so I was just writing stuff that I had no idea what I was talking about, but it was just a thing to do at the time.
So who do you consider to be the greatest lyricist in hip hop? And what makes them stand out?
The greatest lyricist, right? So it's different. That's a good question. I think the greatest lyricist, just like from a pure lyrical standpoint, is Rakim. Right? He just writes graphic. He writes like movies in his rhymes. Like if you ever heard this song called Mahogany he did, where he talks about how he met this girl, and like that song came out in the '90s, and I still listen to it at least once or twice a week, and I'm still getting gems from that. Like some of the stuff he said. So it's just, as far as lyrics are concerned, Rakim, all day.
So quote one of the lines from Mahogany.
It's just one line. He said, it starts off, it says, me and Eric B was cooling at the Palladium. Met an all-world cover girl. I said, hey lady, I'm sorry to interrupt. Don't mean to intervene. He said, sorry to interrupt. Don't mean to intervene. God, what was it? If I was in the car, I would know it. But anyway, it's a part in there where he says he wants to feed her mind. It's like poetry and protein, vitamins or something. And it's like a year ago, I really got what he said. I'm like, I got to go and listen to it now. But I mean, he just tells. He writes scripts in his lyrics, man, that are just so profound. Yeah.
So how does your personal life or experiences influence, how did it influence your music in the past?
You mean like things that I've been through?
Yeah. How does your personal life, or did your personal life or experience influence the way you wrote?
I mean, once I got older, I never really actually tried to rap until I got into music production, because I was more of a spoken word guy. But once I started getting into music production, like in the early 2000s, I was making these beats, and I was like, man, somebody would sound good rapping to this. So I would just write, and then I kind of got a lot better at it. And by that point, I kind of matured. My mind had blossomed a lot. So, I would write about things that I still talk about to this day, like, like black men being responsible and mature, and trying to change the narrative of how we're looked at. Celebrating black women, stuff like that. And even deeper things like, me dealing with depression. I had a couple of songs about that, and it was just another form of expression.
So hip hop has often been a platform for discussing social injustice and activism, right?
Yeah.
So do you think it's important for artists to use their voice for these causes?
Sure, and we need more of it, because most what they call hip hop today, which I don't consider hip hop. I just think it's kind of catchy pop music to me, or hip hop like they call it. It's no balance there. You know, for every little something or sexy something, for every 10 of those, you got one Kendrick Lamar, right? So I think it's more of that. And I kind of feel a shift though, because I feel like just from watching YouTube and seeing some of the younger dudes are reacting now to like Wu-Tang and Rakim and like, you know, Pharoah Monch, people like that. And they're realizing like, yo, these dudes were very intelligent back then. So I think they see that. They see that as off balance. And it's a lot of guys, younger guys now coming out that I'm like, you can tell when they're a true student of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, my last question is, as it relates to these hip hop artists that are coming up on, you know, these social platforms like SoundCloud and YouTube.
Yeah.
Do you think independent artists have more control now than in the past?
Oh yeah, for sure. When the internet came, that changed everything. That changed everything, because you can drop a song tonight that just may be the hottest song of the year, and by the end of the week, you got 1 million followers. And you can keep that and just stay independent, keep all your own money, or, you know, that's the internet. I heard somebody say the internet has pretty much taken the place of PR, right? Public relations and marketing. They just go, you know, on the internet and see who's hot. That's how a lot of these guys came up. That's it. That's with comedy. I mean, that's with hip hop and comedy. They just, oh, this dude got 2.5 million followers. Next thing you know, he got a brand deal. But a lot of these people now, these younger hip hop cats now, you know, they don't need that backing. Especially with streaming. You know, you ain't got to sell nothing out the trunk no more. When the last time you saw somebody play a CD? Like, it's just, so yeah, I mean, I think the internet changed everything. You ain't gonna ask me what my top 5 is. You gotta ask me what my top 5 MCs are.
Top 5.
You stupid. All right. My top 5 MCs of all time. Okay?
All right. You going from top or from the bottom to the top?
And it's funny because the MC that I feel like is the most influential on me is not in my top 5.
Okay.
Like Chuck D is not in my top 5, but he had the most influence on me.
Okay.
Black Thought, who I think is the best MC to ever do it.
Okay.
Period. Black Thought has breath control, stage presence. He's smart as a whip. Flows, he's witty. I mean, he's just the complete package, right? Black Thought, Nas, Rakim, Black Thought, Nas, Rakim. I gotta throw KRS in there because he's the teacher. And for my last one, this could change every day, but I think I'm gonna put Kendrick in it. And that's gonna make a lot of my generation upset. But I mean, Kendrick is our Tupac, Rakim, KRS-One, all wrapped into one. And you know, you can't deny that. Peace.